The clock struck 3 in the morning. A harsh, urgent voice pierced the silence. "We need a defibrillator now." In a small, dimly lit hospital room, a man's chest heaved desperately under the weight of his own panic. His heart, once steady and strong, was spiraling out of control. Seconds stretched like hours. Then, silence. The machines flatlined. Stress had won again. You might think it's just another headline. Stress kills millions every year. But imagine it's your father, your neighbor, or even you. The truth? Stress is not some vague enemy lurking far away. It's a silent predator living inside your body, waiting to strike when you least expect it. It sneaks in like a shadow at dusk, creeping into your muscles, your thoughts, your sleep. And if left unchecked, it builds pressure like steam trapped in a kettle. Until one day, boom, the lid blows off. Heart attacks, stroke, uncontrollable panic. Stop. Breathe that in. Feel it. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a wake-up call. Here's the brutal fact. Stress is the #1 trigger for health disasters after 55. You might be thinking, but I exercise, I try to eat well. That's good. But what if your body's own chemistry is fueling the fire? What if what you eat could either feed that stress or starve it? You see, there's a battlefield inside you. Hormones raging, inflammation rising, tension tightening like a noose. Every bite you take, yes, every single bite, can either add fuel or throw water on that fire. Stress doesn't just mess with your mood, it hijacks your entire system. Your heart races, your digestion snarls, your sleep flees, and then it hits your brain, the control center. Suddenly, focus disappears. Memory blurs, energy drains. Sounds like a nightmare? It's real life for millions. But here's the twist. Nature has a secret arsenal of simple, everyday foods that melt away tension like ice under the sun. Foods that whisper calm to your nerves, that untangle the knots in your muscles, that tell your brain, relax, you're safe. You don't need fancy supplements. You don't need complicated diets. You need to know the right foods and why they work. Because the war against stress isn't fought with pills, it's fought at your dinner table. So what if the difference between waking up exhausted or waking up refreshed is one meal, one choice, one small habit that rewires your entire stress response? Sounds impossible? Let me tell you, people just like you are already proving it. Their stories start with chaos, but end with peace. You'll meet one of them soon. For now, hold that thought. The power to change your body's stress story is in your hands and in your kitchen. Remember, stress isn't a sentence, it's a signal. And with the right foods, you can answer back. Let's dive into how. Mark was a man who thought he had it all figured out. At 62, retired from a busy office job, he believed stress was something he'd left behind in the rat race. Yet, every morning, his chest tightened like a vice. Nights were restless battles with his own mind. "I'm fine," he told his wife with a weak smile. But the truth? He wasn't. One chilly autumn evening, after a day filled with small annoyances, a missed bus, a forgotten appointment, a phone that wouldn't stop ringing, Mark felt his world start to tilt. His hands trembled, sweat poured down his forehead, and then sharp pain stabbed through his left arm. "I just stood up from the chair and everything blurred," he later recalled. The ambulance came, the hospital too, and doctors talked words like stress-induced angina. Mark's heart was screaming for help, and he'd been ignoring it for years. The moment of truth hit hard. "You can't live like this," his doctor said. "Stress is killing you from the inside out." But what could Mark do? He was overwhelmed, tired, and trapped in a cycle of worry he didn't even know how to break. Here's the kicker. Mark's diet was part of the problem. He loved his morning coffee, black, strong, endless. Lunch was often fast food, grabbed on the go. Dinner, whatever was easiest, salty snacks, sugary desserts, caffeine-packed sodas. His plate was a stress playground. One day, exhausted and desperate, Mark stumbled on a simple idea. What if he could feed his body something else? Something that calmed instead of fired up. He started small. A handful of almonds mid-morning, a cup of chamomile tea instead of his third espresso, fresh vegetables, colorful and crisp, replacing greasy fries. At first, it felt almost silly. Could food really change the storm inside? But slowly, just like dawn breaks after the longest night, Mark felt shifts. His chest loosened, his mind cleared, sleep came easier, friends noticed. "You look different," they said. "Calmer, happier." Mark smiled, knowing this was more than just a change on the outside. It was peace he hadn't touched in years. Now, Mark isn't perfect. Stress still visits sometimes. Life's stubborn that way. But the difference? He fights back with every meal. With every choice, he's rewriting his story. Mark's journey is a mirror. Maybe it's your own reflection staring back. The good news? You don't have to wait for a crisis to start healing. You can begin now, bite by bite. Because in the war against stress, you're not powerless. You just need the right weapons. And Mark found them on his plate. Imagine your body as a finely tuned orchestra. Every instrument, your organs, hormones, nerves, plays its part in perfect harmony. Now, picture stress as a rogue drummer banging out a frantic, offbeat rhythm. Suddenly, the whole symphony spirals into chaos. That's what stress does inside you. It hijacks your nervous system, flooding your bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol, the so-called stress hormones. These chemicals are like emergency signals designed to help you fight or flee in a moment of danger. But here's the catch. When stress becomes constant, those signals stay switched on, like a fire alarm that won't stop ringing. What happens then? Your heart races, blood vessels tighten, digestion slows down. Your body's on high alert 24/7. And that's exhausting. Over time, this relentless tension damages cells, fuels inflammation, and even rewires your brain to stay anxious. Now, let's zoom in on cortisol, often called the stress hormone. Think of cortisol as a double-edged sword. In small bursts, it helps regulate energy and immune response, but when it lingers too long, it becomes a saboteur. High cortisol levels increase blood sugar, promote fat storage around your belly, and weaken your immune system. That's why chronic stress is linked to heart disease, diabetes, and even memory loss. Here's where food comes in, the unsung hero of this story. Certain foods act like peacemakers in your body's battlefield. Take magnesium, for example. This mineral is like a calming conductor that slows down that frantic drummer. Magnesium relaxes muscles, lowers blood pressure, and helps regulate cortisol. Nuts, leafy greens, and whole grains are packed with it. Omega-3 fatty acids, think of them as oil for rusty gears. They reduce inflammation and help your brain switch off stress signals. Fatty fish like salmon and flax seeds are rich in these. Then there's tryptophan, an amino acid that's the precursor to serotonin, your brain's natural, feel-good chemical. Serotonin lowers anxiety and promotes restful sleep. Foods like turkey, eggs, and bananas boost tryptophan levels. Now picture sugar and caffeine as the unruly kids in the orchestra. They spike adrenaline and cortisol, making the rogue drummer louder. That's why excessive sweets and strong coffee can actually fuel stress, morals, rather than ease it. Stress isn't just in your head, it's a full-body experience, wired through chemical messengers and nervous system circuits. But by choosing foods that soothe, nourish, and balance these messengers, you can tune the orchestra back to harmony. It's science, but it's also simple. Your plate is a control panel. Every bite can either dial up the chaos or turn down the noise. And this isn't just theory. Studies show that people who eat magnesium-rich diets report less anxiety. Omega-3 supplements improve mood and reduce inflammation. Diets low in sugar and caffeine help stabilize stress hormones. So the question is, what tune do you want your body to play? Because the power isn't in a pill, it's in the food. Your food. First, let me tell you about Linda. She used to reach for coffee like it was her lifeline. 3 cups before noon, sometimes more. She believed caffeine kept her sharp, her energy alive. But the truth? It was like pouring gasoline on a fire. Her heart raced, her hands shook, and by afternoon, anxiety wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. One day, after a jittery morning, she swapped that 3rd cup for a warm mug of chamomile tea. At first, she doubted it. Tea? Really? But that gentle, floral sip became her secret weapon. Slowly, Linda noticed her nerves settled, her sleep deepened. That simple swap tamed the chaos inside her. Coffee and stress? A toxic duo. Swap caffeine for calming herbs. Your body will thank you. Now, here's Tom's story. A man who loved salty snacks, chips, pretzels, anything crunchy and savory. Stress made him crave that salt rush like a quick fix. But salt, especially in excess, is a sneaky enemy. It spikes blood pressure and worsens tension. One afternoon, Tom found himself dizzy and pounding with headaches, the silent whispers of his body begging for mercy. That's when he tried something new, crunchy carrot sticks with hummus. The salt cravings faded, replaced by a satisfying crunch that didn't come with a price. His blood pressure dropped, and with it, the constant tightness in his chest. Salt overload is a silent stress amplifier. Reach for natural crunch, vegetables, nuts, seeds. Your heart will breathe easier. Finally, meet Susan. She was overwhelmed, juggling family, work, and her own health. Her meals were often rushed or skipped, fueling stress rather than fighting it. Then she discovered the power of small, consistent choices. Each morning she started with a simple smoothie: spinach, banana, flaxseed, and a splash of almond milk. It was like a peace treaty for her day. The nutrients calmed her nervous system, stabilized blood sugar, and gave her energy that lasted. No crashes, no cravings, just steady calm. Skipping meals or eating on the fly, that's stress's playground. Build calm with balanced, nourishing breakfasts. It sets the tone for your entire day. Each of these stories holds a truth. Your food choices are not random. They shape how stress lives in your body. You hold the power to change the story, one mindful bite at a time. Look, I get it. Life after 55 isn't always easy. The body feels every year, every worry, every sleepless night. But here's the thing. This isn't some tragic inevitability. This is a turning point, a chance to reclaim your calm, your strength, your joy. You're not alone in this fight. Every bite you take can be a choice, a small victory against the storm inside. Imagine waking up not with a tight chest or a restless mind, but with a breath of fresh air filling your lungs. Imagine feeling steady, even when the world spins wild around you. Mark did it. Linda did it. Tom and Susan did it. Ordinary people, just like you and me, rewriting their story. And so can you. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. One meal, one habit, one moment of care. The power isn't in grand gestures, it's in small, steady steps that build a life of peace. You don't have to wait for a crisis to start this journey. The moment is now. The tools are simple. The results? Life-changing. So, when stress tries to shout, let your choices speak louder. Let your plate be your peace. You are stronger than stress. You are the author of your own calm. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, you start again. Because this story, you, deserve a calm, vibrant chapter ahead.